Okay, it tells me that I'm going live, but there have been one problem after another, and I think you can't even see me, which is some nonsense. There we go. Okay, so I'm on the right microphone. You should be able to see me if I'm live, and that's always a question. So I am so sorry I'm late this morning. There's been a snafu. Oh, it looks like we are on. Yes. All right. So sorry I'm late. There was a snafu with our various Zoom accounts, and now I'm here. I made it. I made it late, but I made it. This isn't as bad as that other time when I did the entire show on my private page and then had to log out of there, log back in, and do the entire show again. Although, admittedly, that was worse for me than it was for you. And also, I was only slightly later that time than I am today. So, welcome to Tea and New Book Tuesday for July 13th. I am Lisa. I will be your librarian. As always, we are going to go over the books that Mobile Public Library has pre-ordered. These are all coming out in August, and today we're going to focus on yellow labels. At MPL, yellow labels are mysteries, thriller, and suspense. So, I know what everybody's favorite part of the show is. We're not going to share screen yet because we're going to talk about books that I have right here. I think everybody's favorite part of the show is free books. Honestly, it's one of my favorite parts too, because I like giving away free books. And as a bonus, this week's books, it's going to work the same way it did the last few times, where I'm going to show you the book and tell you what it's about. And if you want that book, put the name of the book and your MPL location for pickup in the comments below. The first person to put each book is the one, or the first person to ask for a book is the one who gets that book. But all 4 books I'm going to mention today have been bought by Mobile Public Library. Some are out, some are not. I think one of them is out, but is almost completely checked out. And one came out last year, so there's plenty of copies. So if you want a book and you're not the first person to ask for it, you won't get the free book. But if you tell me, please put it on hold, tell me the name of the book and your location for pickup, I will try to go into your account and do it. I may have to direct message you to make sure I'm on the same account, I'm on the right account, if that makes sense. We'll see. I've never done this before. I've never done it this way before. And Facebook often gives me like maiden names and things that aren't in your MPL account. That can make things confusing sometimes, but we're going to try it so that if everybody hears about a book they really want and only one person gets it, I'd like you to at least be able to check it out. If all else fails, I can always just send you the link to the book in the catalog so you can put it on hold yourself. Which, if you don't want me messing with putting holds on your account, you could always do it that way. You might want to do it that way. We'll see. We'll try it. We're trying something new. Okay, so let's start off with A Good Marriage. Good Marriage by Kimberly McCrate, maybe? Okay. In this riveting novel from the New York Times bestselling author of Reconstructing Amelia, a woman's brutal murder reveals the perilous compromises some couples make and the secrets they keep in order to stay together. Lizzie Kitsakis is working late when she gets the call. Grueling hours are standard at elite law firms like Young and Crane, but they'd be easier to swallow if Lizzie were there voluntarily. Until recently, she'd been a happy, underpaid federal prosecutor. With that job and her brilliant, devoted husband, Sam, she had everything she'd ever wanted. And then, suddenly, it all fell apart. No, that's a lie. It wasn't sudden, was it? Long ago, the cracks in Lizzie's marriage had started to show. She was just good at averting her eyes. The last thing Lizzie needs right now is a call from an inmate at Rikers asking for help. Even if Zach Grayson is an old friend, But Zach is desperate. His wife, Amanda, has been found dead at the bottom of the stairs in their Brooklyn brownstone, and Zach's the primary suspect. As Lizzie is drawn into the dark heart of idyllic Park Slope, she learns that Zach and Amanda weren't what they seemed, and that their friends, a close-knit group of fellow parents at the exclusive Brooklyn County Day School, may be protecting troubling secrets of their own. In the end, she's left wondering not only whether her own marriage can be saved, but what it means to have a good marriage in the first place. So that's a good marriage. Next up, I think I featured this on the show. I know I featured the next two. Ellie Griffiths, The Postscript Murders. This came out in March of this year. That one over there came out in 2020. That one over there is a good marriage. Sorry. So, murder leaps off the page when crime novelists begin to turn up dead in this intricate new novel by internationally best-selling author Ellie Griffiths, a literary mystery perfect for fans of Anthony Horowitz and Agatha Christie. The best is definitely not the word that's there. Yeah, give me a second. The death of a 90-year-old woman with a heart condition should not be suspicious. Detective Sergeant Harbinger Carr certainly sees nothing out of the ordinary when Peggy's caretaker, Natalia, begins to recount Peggy Smith's passing. But Natalia has a reason to be at the police station. While clearing out Peggy's flat, she noticed an unusual number of crime novels, all dedicated to Peggy, and each psychological thriller included a mysterious postscript. P.S. for P.S. When a gunman breaks into the flat to steal a book and its author is found dead shortly thereafter, Detective Carr begins to think that perhaps there is no such thing as an unsuspicious death after all. And then things escalate. From an Aberdeen literary festival to the streets of Edinburgh, writers are being targeted. D.S. Carr embarks on a road trip across Europe and reckons with how exactly authors can think up such realistic crimes. This one is good. It's checked out in most branches, but it looks like there's one still left in Parkway and Theo. Also, I have this free one to give away. So that's the Postscript Murders. Take a drink of my tea. Today I'm having my winter spice because I already had a Dr. Pepper. So I've already had my caffeine and my sugar, and now I'm drinking something that has neither, which just makes me want cookies. And I have cookies, but I also have a tea and New Book Tuesday to do. Okay. This is one I got all excited about when I previewed it last month because it came out last week. We have it on order, but things are a little slower, even post-COVID or semi-post-COVID. Anyway, it's on its way, and it already has, I think, 20-something holds on it, and we didn't buy 20-something copies. So every copy, when it comes in, is going to end up on the hold shelf for somebody, and then checked out, and then probably to another hold after that. So this free copy gives you a chance to read it now. It's called Falling by T.J. Newman. And this is one of those ones that has a very, very short description because it gets right to the point. Okay. You just boarded a flight to New York. There are 143 other passengers aboard. What you don't know is that 30 minutes before the flight, your pilot's family was kidnapped. For his family to live, everyone on your plane must die. The only way the family will survive is if the pilot follows his orders and crashes the plane. Enjoy the flight. Yeah, this is one I want to get around to reading, so it's going on my to-be-read pile. I seriously considered not giving it to you guys because I want to read it. But it seems silly when I work in a library and I can just pick up a copy. I have several things at home I need to read. That's why I'm giving it away, because I just can't do that. Although there's a horror book over there I might do that with. At any rate, I am going to give away Falling by T.J. Newman. It looks really interesting. If you want that, put it in the comments. If you're not the first person to get that one, that's the one I think you should probably put a hold on, like now, today. If you want to see a copy this fall, maybe. Okay. And the one advanced reader copy, because these are all advanced reader copies, I think I've explained before, advanced reader copies are often sent to libraries and other book peoples so that we can read it and decide if it's something that we want to collect and keep in our library. It encourages us to consider it. We can't sell them because you're not allowed. It's in the rules. I think it's even written on here somewhere. So this doesn't come out until August, unknown date. You know what? This is actually my first book of my August yellow labels I was going to explain. I forgot that because it's in these other notes. Yes, it comes out August 10th. It has already, the film rights have already sold. They already know the actress who's going to play the main character because I think she's the one who bought the film rights. So they're thinking this is going to be a big deal. But of the advanced reader copies I have, this is the one that is genuinely not out yet. So this is Mrs. Marsh by author named, Virginia Fieto. She was raised in Madrid and she's Spanish. Fito? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. This is soon to be a motion picture with Blumhouse Studios, starring Elizabeth Moss of The Handmaid's Tale and Mad Men. Also, Blumhouse does horror, so that's really interesting. I think they might be digging into the darkness in this one. But the description is, in this astonishing debut, the venerable but gossipy New York literary scene is twisted into a claustrophobic funhouse of paranoia, horror, and wickedly dark humor. George March's latest novel is a smash. No one is prouder than Mrs. March, his doting wife. But one morning, the shopkeeper of her favorite patisserie suggests that his protagonist is based on Mrs. Marsh herself. Isn't she? Mrs. March leaned in and in almost a whisper said, a whore? Clutching her ostrich leather pocketbook, she flees, the one casual remark destroying her belief that she knew everything about her husband as well as herself. Suddenly, Mrs. March is hurled into a harrowing journey that builds to near psychosis, one that begins merely within the pages of a book, but may uncover both a killer and a long-buried secret of her past. So this sounds real interesting. These are all quotes from people who loved it. And I think it got a starred review. Yes, this got a starred review from Kirkus Magazine, which, as I've said before, Kirkus is notoriously the literary magazine that librarians read to find out why not to buy a book. So their rarely given praise was given out to this one. If you want Mrs. Marsh or any of these other books, put the title of the book and the MPL location you want for pickup in the comments below. I've only done 4 this week, but I have ended up with kind of extra books every week. They're ending up on the reject shelf. So I don't know how I'm going to give them away. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But let's move on. It's time to share the screen so you can see covers of books. Let's do this. Let's share this like this. Here we go. Now we're just looking at ourselves. We're on Facebook Live, looking at Facebook Live in a sort of Facebook Liveception. And we'll go ahead and present my thingy. There we go. Teen New Book Tuesday. We're already in it. We're already doing it. We are ready to get into our August yellow labels, our mysteries, thrillers, and suspense. Starting with Mrs. Marsh. That's what the actual cover looks like, which I think is what it looks like inside here. Yeah, it looks like that on the inside. As I said, it has a Kirkus starred review. It's coming out August 10th. If you end up not being the one who wins it, I would encourage you, if you're interested, to put it on hold so that you will have it when it comes out. And I swear we're going to start getting books out on the day they're released as soon as we can. We're working on it. Moving on to our next book. More mystery, more intrigue, more thriller and suspense, starting with The Other Me by Sarah Zachrich. 2 lives, the one you wanted and the one that wanted you. Her birthday should be like any other night. 1 minute, Kelly's a free-spirited artist in Chicago going to her best friend's art show. The next, she opens a door and mysteriously emerges in her Michigan hometown. Suddenly, her life is unrecognizable. She's got 12 years of the wrong memories in her head, and she's married to Eric, a man she barely knew in high school. Racing to get back to her old life, Kelly's search leads only to more questions. In this life, she loves Eric and wants to trust him, but everything she discovers about him, including a connection to a mysterious tech startup, tells her she shouldn't. And strange things keep happening. The tattoos she had when she was an artist briefly reappear on her skin. She remembers fights with Eric that he says never happened, and her relationships with loved ones, both new and familiar, seem to change without warning. But the closer Kelly gets to putting these pieces together, the more her reality seems to shift. And if she can't figure out what happened on her birthday, the next change could cost her everything. This debut novel already has over 4 stars on Goodreads from the early readers who probably got advanced reader copies, like I did. If you are interested in The Other Me, it comes out August 10th. All right. Our next book is Rabbit Hole by Mark Billingham. This is described as a gripping standalone thriller from the first-rate British crime writer, very different, and internationally best-selling author of the Tom Thorne novels. You know, I read that word completely fine. I don't know why reading it while speaking it is not happening, but it's okay. I'll just concentrate every time I get there. Alice Armitage is a police officer, or she was, or perhaps she just imagines she was. Whatever the truth is, following a debilitating bout of PTSD, self-medication with drink and drugs, and a psychotic breakdown, Alice is now a long-term patient in an acute psychiatric ward. When one of her fellow patients is murdered, Alice becomes convinced that she has identified the killer and that she can catch them. Ignored by the police, she begins her own investigation. But when her prime suspect becomes the second victim, Alice's life begins to unravel still further as she realizes that she cannot trust anyone, least of all herself. So this is giving me some like Shelter Island vibes, a very do you even know what's real kind of a situation. If you are interested in Rabbit Hole, it comes out August 3rd. All right, next up we have Taylor Moore's Downrange, which is going to be book 1 in a series. In this action-packed debut thriller for fans of C.J. Box and Jack Carr, DEA agent Garrett Cole fights to protect his home on the Texas High Plains when a vicious criminal enterprise comes after his family. Whew. Okay, before we get into this, I'm going to drink. All right. As a decorated undercover DEA special agent, Garrett Cole has traveled the world and fought in most of it. But it's the high plains of Northwest Texas he calls home and dreams of returning to one day. Cole is in the middle of an assignment in Afghanistan when his commander orders him back to Texas on a short mission expected to take a week at most. But he's unsettled to discover that he's moved from one kind of war to another. The once peaceful ranching community he loves is under attack by a band of criminals who have infiltrated law enforcement, corrupted local businesses, and is now terrorizing Cole's own family. Hoping to prevent bloodshed, Cole tries to resolve matters peacefully. but when the group strikes first, he has no choice but to go on the attack. Unfortunately for the criminal crew, besides being an elite undercover officer for the DEA, Garrett Cole is a battle-hardened Green Beret who spent the better part of his career hunting terrorists. Although outnumbered and outgunned, Cole knows the wild and forsaken Llano Estado region of Texas better than anyone. And like so many trespassers before them, these murderers will find out the hard way that the only thing tougher than this land is the people who call it home. Again, this is the first book in a planned series. If you are interested in Downrange by Taylor Moore, it comes out August 3rd. I keep doing that. Okay. Next up, Gone for Good by Joanna Schaffhausen. It's probably pronounced so much simpler than that, and I'm just making it hard. Anyway, Gone for Good is the first in a new mystery series from award-winning author Joanna Schaffhausen, featuring Detective Annalisa Vega, in which a cold case heats up. The lovelorn killer murdered 7 women, ritually binding them and leaving them for dead before penning them gruesome love letters in the local papers. Then he disappeared, and after 20 years with no trace of him, many believe that he's gone for good. Not Grace Harper. A grocery store manager by day, at night Grace uses her snooping skills as part of an amateur sleuth group. She believes the lovelorn killer is still living in the same neighborhood that he hunted in, and if she can figure out how he selects his victims, she will have the key to his identity. Detective Annalisa Vega lost someone she loved to the killer. Now she's at a murder scene with the worst kind of deja vu. Grace Harper lies bound and dead on the floor, surrounded by clues to the biggest murder case that Chicago homicide never solved. Annalisa has the chance to make it right and to heal her family, but first she has to figure out what Grace knew, how to see a killer who might be standing right in front of you. This means tracking his steps back to her childhood, peering into the dark corners she hadn't acknowledged before, and learning that despite everything the killer took, she still has so much more to lose. This has a slightly larger than usual group of early readers, and they have given this a 4.28 star rating on Goodreads. If you are interested in Gone for Good, it comes out August 10th. All right, moving on to Getaway by Zoe Stage. Zoe? Is it a Zoe? And I'm just, again, overpronunciating? Maybe. We don't know. We're going to have tea, and then we'll discuss the book. Okay. A cinematic and terrifying new novel from the master of the psychological thriller and the best-selling author of Baby Teeth and Wonderland, about 3 friends who hike into the wilds of the Grand Canyon, only to find it's not so easy to leave the world behind. It was supposed to be the perfect week away. Imogen and Beck, 2 sisters who couldn't be more different, have been friends with Tilda since high school. Once inseparable, over 2 decades the women have grown apart. But after Imogen survives a traumatic attack, Bess suggests that they all reunite to hike deep into the Grand Canyon's backcountry. A week away, secluded in nature, surely it's just what they need. But as the terrain grows tougher, tensions from their shared past bubble up, and when supplies begin to disappear, it becomes clear secrets aren't the only thing they're being stalked by. As friendships and survival collide with an unspeakable evil, Getaway becomes another riveting thriller from a growing master of suspense and a literary horror writer on the rise. This got a starred review from Booklist magazine and has a 4-star rating on Goodreads right now. So if you were interested in Getaway by Stage, it comes out August 17th. All right. Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. I'm not going to pronounce anybody's name right today. We're just going to accept it and keep going. All right. From the author of the beloved national bestseller, Migrations, a pulse-pounding new novel set in the wild Scottish Highlands. N.T. Flynn arrives in Scotland with her twin sister, Aggie, to lead a team of biologists tasked with reintroducing 14 gray wolves into the remote Scottish Highlands. She hopes to heal not only the dying landscape, but Aggie too, unmade by a terrible secret that drove the sisters out of Alaska. N.T. is not the woman she once was either, changed by the harm she's witnessed, inflicted by humans on both the wild and each other. Yet as the wolves surprise everyone by thriving, N.T. begins to let her guard down, even opening herself up to the possibility of love. But when a farmer is found dead, N.T. knows where the town will lay blame. Unable to accept her wolves could be responsible, N.T. makes a reckless decision to protect them. But if the wolves didn't make the kill, then who did? And what will N.T. do when the man she's falling for seems to be the prime suspect? Propulsive and spellbinding, Charlotte McConaughey's Once There Were Wolves is an unforgettable story of a woman desperate to save the creature she loves if she isn't consumed by a wild that was once her refuge. This got a star review from Kirkus Magazine and a 4.48 star rating on Goodreads. If you're interested in Once There Were Wolves, it comes out August 3rd. All right. Such a Good Wife by Serafina Nova Glass. Betrayal was just the beginning. Melanie Hale is a devoted mother to her two children, a diligent caregiver to her ailing mother-in-law, and a trusted neighbor in their wealthy Louisiana community. After all, she's a loving partner to her wonderful husband, Colin. Then there are parts of herself that Mel keeps hidden. She's exhausted, worried, and unfulfilled. So much so that one night, after a writers' group meeting, Mel begins an affair with a successful local author named Luke. Suddenly, she's transformed into a role she doesn't recognize, a woman who deceives with unseemly ease, a woman who might be capable of just about anything. When Mel finds Luke's dead body in his lavish rented house, she realizes just how high the stakes have become. Not only does she have to keep her affair a secret in order to preserve her marriage, but she desperately needs to avoid being implicated in Luke's death. But who would want to kill him? Who else in her life is keeping secrets? And most terrifying of all, how far will they and she go to keep those secrets hidden? This book already has an over 4-star rating from early readers on Goodreads. If you're interested in Such a Good Wife, it comes out August 10th. All right, 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard. This is another relatively short description that kind of gets like straight to the point. No one knew they'd moved in together. Now one of them is dead. Could this be the perfect murder? 56 days ago, Sierra and Oliver met in a supermarket queue in Dublin, the same week COVID-19 reached Irish shores. 35 days ago, when lockdown threatened to keep them apart, Oliver suggests that Sierra move in with him. She sees a unique opportunity for a new relationship to flourish without the pressure of scrutiny of family and friends. He sees it as an opportunity to hide who and what he really is. Today, detectives arrive at Oliver's apartment to discover a decomposing body inside. Will they be able to determine what really happened, or has lockdown provided someone with the opportunity to commit the perfect crime? All right. If you are interested in 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard, it comes out August 17th. And get a drink of tea, and we'll move on to The Last Guess by G.P. Pomeroy. Never gonna end. It's never gonna end. Pomari? I like Pomar. All right. In this thrilling new novel for fans of Meg and Miranda, a wife finds herself racing for answers when the decision to rent out her family vacation home takes a deadly turn. Oh, okay. Took in too much air. Also, do you like my short hairs? I cut my hairs. The hair you saw before was my COVID haircut, in that I needed a haircut in March of 2020, and I didn't go get it. And then I had to wait until I was A, fully vaccinated, and then B, until I could find someone, because I didn't schedule it in 2020 because I didn't have a hairdresser I liked. Anyway, I finally cut my hair, is the crux of that story. Newlyweds, Lena and Kane, don't make it out to their vacation home on gorgeous Lake Tarawera as often as they'd like. So when Kane suggests they rent the property out on weekends, Lena reluctantly agrees. While the home has been special to her family for generations, their neighbors are all signing up to host renters, and frankly, she and Kane could use the extra money. What could go wrong? And at first, Lena is amazed at how quickly guests line up to spend a weekend and at how much they're willing to pay. But both Lena and Kane have been keeping secrets that won't be kept out by a new alarm system or a locked cupboard. When strange things begin happening on their property and a visit takes a deadly turn, Lena becomes convinced that someone out there knows something they shouldn't, and that when they come for her, there will be nowhere left to hide. This has an over 4-star rating from early readers on Goodreads. If you are interested in the last guess, it comes out August 31st. All right, we're getting down to the last few. Where the Truth Lies by Anna Bailey. When a teenage girl disappears from an insular small town, all of the community's most devastating secrets come to light in this stunningly atmospheric and slow-burning suspense novel, perfect for fans of Meg and Miranda and Celeste Ding. We're pulling out Meg and Miranda a lot this week. At any rate, the town of Whistling Ridge guards its secrets. When 17-year-old Abigail goes missing, her best friend Emma, compelled by the guilt of leaving. Okay. I'm going to have some tea, and then I'm going to take that again. This time with my head in the game. All right. When 17-year-old Abigail goes missing, her best friend Emma, compelled by the guilt of leaving her alone at a party in the woods, sets out to discover the truth about what happened. The police initially believe Abby ran away, but Emma doesn't believe that her friend would leave without her, and when officers find disturbing evidence in the nearby woods, the festering secrets and long-standing resentment of both Abigail's family and the people of Whistling Ridge, Colorado, begin to surface with devastating consequences. Among those secrets, Abby's older brother Noah's passionate, dangerous love for the handsome rat, a recently arrived Romanian immigrant who has made his home in a trailer park in town, her younger brother Jude's feeling that he knows information he should tell the police, if he could only put it into words, Abby's father's mercurial, unpredictable rages, and her mother's silence. Then there is the rest of Whistling Ridge, where the charismatic preacher advocates for God's love in language that mirrors violence, under the sway of the powerful businessman who rules the town, insular and wary of outsiders. But Abby has secrets too, and the closer Emma gets to unraveling the past, the farther she feels from her friend. And in a tinderbox of small-town rage, all it will take is just one spark, the truth of what really happened that night, to change their community forever. There's an unusually large number of early readers for this one, and they gave it an over 4-star rating on Goodreads. If you are interested in Where the Truth Lies by Anna Bailey, it comes out August 3rd. All right, this is our last book of the day. We had I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show. There were so many yellow labels coming out in August that I went ahead and did a discussion board post that I posted, I think yesterday, that has all of the ones, no, has some of the ones that I had to eliminate from today. I couldn't fit them all in the discussion board post because it made the post too long for Goodreads. So if you are a mystery thriller suspense lover, you need to frequent the library in August. I've tried to tell you about as many of them as I can, but there are genuinely more of them coming out than I can tell you about, because obviously fall is just like curl up and read a good mystery season. Yeah, just is. Okay. Clark and Division by Naomi Hirahara. Set in 1944 Chicago, Edgar Award winning Naomi Hirahara's eye-opening and poignant new mystery, the story of a young woman searching for the truth about her revered older sister's death, brings to focus the struggles of one Japanese-American family released from mass incarceration at Manzanar during World War II. 20-year-old Akihito and her parents have just been released from Manzanar, where they were detained by the US government since the aftermath of Pearl Harbor, together with thousands of other Japanese Americans. The life in California the Itos were forced to leave behind is gone. Instead, they are being resettled 2,000 miles away in Chicago, where Aki's older sister, Rose, was sent months earlier and moved to a new Japanese American neighborhood near Clark and Division Streets. But on the eve of the Itos family reunion, Rose is killed by a subway train. Aki, who worshipped her sister, is stunned. Officials are ruling Rose's death a suicide. Aki can't believe her perfect, polished, and optimistic sister would end her life. Her instinct tells her there is more, much more to this story, and she knows she is the only person who could ever learn the truth. Inspired by historical events, Clark and Division infuses an atmospheric and heartbreaking real crime fiction plot with rich details and delicately wrought personal stories Naomi Hirahara has gathered from 30 years of research and archival work in Japanese American history. So a bit of a mystery, but also a bit of historical fiction, which at least one of these others was. This one definitely is. So far, this has only got a handful of early readers, but they've given it a 4.3 star rating on Goodreads, which is nice and high. If you're interested in Clark and Division, it comes out August 3rd. All right. We have 4 books to give away. I'd really like to give all 4 of them away. But don't forget, if you don't win the book, then you can always put one of these books on hold. But if you want it, put the title and your MPL location for pickup in the comments below. We will try to do the hold thing. Let me know if that's something you want. And we'll see if it works. I'll report back next week. We'll figure it out. So yes, don't forget, we have a giveaway. There's the new discussion board post on the TM New Book Tuesday group on Goodreads. If you want to see some of the other mysteries, thriller, and suspense that are coming out in August, not all of them, because dear God, the list was long. I also put out the newsletter. It went out 11. It went out on time, despite me not starting on time. So if you want to sign up for that, it's in the description below. Come back next week when I will discuss historical fiction and romance. Thank you for watching, and go. Have a good week, guys. Bye.